Right, I thought we'd get away from reform for a bit, because evidently the truth is a bit hard to take for some of you. Anyway, Snow Not So White. Now, there's a reason that story was called Snow White, and there's a reason why that film was one of the most successful animated films of all time. So why Disney couldn't follow that formula, I don't know, or come up with something different, rather than try to ruin the original. Anyway, I remember as a wee little kiddie watching it on video or VHS, and even though I couldn't speak English at the time, my first language is Welsh. I could understand the gist of it. Some horrible old woman wanted her more beautiful stepdaughter dead, and it all goes tits up for her, quite literally. And I remember the scene where the dwarves were lining up to see her in her glass coffin, and I remember crying, being so upset over it, and I remember vowing there and then I'd never watch it again because it made me cry. And so, to cheer me up, my mother thought she'd put on Bambi for me, and that's the last Disney movie I ever watched for quite some time. And I won't even get into how I reacted when I saw Watership Down for the first time. So anyway, the live-action remake of Disney's Snow White was released the other day, and it's completely bombed. As the great God Emperor Donald Trump once said, everything woke goes to shit. And he's absolutely right. Disney have gone woke, and they've turned to shit. Nobody's gone to watch it, absolutely nobody. There are screenshots upon screenshots of cinema bookings where there's a handful of seats being paid for. And it's completely Disney's fault. Well, partly, I'd say mostly, it's the lead actress who plays Snow White, a girl called Rachel Zegler. All she had to do was promote the film positively, not be woke, and not be herself, then it would have done all right, I reckon. Because the reviews have been mixed, they haven't been all bad. But it's all down to her woke politics. It's a testament how people like this injecting their own stupid brand of left-wing bollocks and woke progressive nastiness into it. And it can sink projects, it can sink multi-million-dollar movies, and it's done so evidently with Snow White. Now, she is a Latina actress of Colombian Polish descent, and even that pissed people off because Snow White is meant to be a Caucasian. It is a Caucasian, grim European fairy tale. But then again, because it's Caucasian and Western, it's okay to appropriate it, isn't it? And people said, well, you know, she should be played by a white actress. And I can see where they're coming from. And it does seem to be a diversity-driven choice. And so Disney, they reimagined the movie, especially the name, as coming from her surviving a snowstorm as a baby, rather than her complexion. Ah, dear. And, you know, to her credit, she said she wouldn't bleach her skin for the role. You know, fair play. No one should have to bleach their skin for any job, in my opinion, so I'm backing her on that one. But it's her comments when she was promoting the movie that's really pissed people off, because she comes across as really insufferable, a really horrible individual. So she stood there in front of the camera and, calling the film's focus on romance as dated, and then she described the prince as a stalker. Well, no, in the movie the prince wasn't stalking Snow White at all, was he? The whole animated movie was just an innocent kiddie's romance. It was a love story. It is a film of its time, but I think the values are far better morally than they are today. And then there's her politically charged tweets about Trump supporters, wishing all of them not a moment's peace. Why would you do that? That's your audience. So the movie made $43 million on its opening weekend in the US. It's already flopped in China, grossing less than $1 million. And then there's the issue of the dwarves. Now, this film was reshot because of the really bad reception. And Disney was shitting themselves thinking, oh no, we're going to lose all this money. And they have anyway. And they had these non-little people. They were normal-sized people. And they were all diverse. So, you know. And so Disney went for the animated dwarves, putting little people out of work. Can I call them little people? I'm trying not to be offensive here. And that's partly down to Peter Dinklage. He was the fantastic, great actor, probably the best thing in Game of Thrones back in the day. I can't believe I'm saying Game of Thrones back in the day. Because he had a bit of a hissy fit saying, dwarves playing dwarves is just insulting. So he put dwarves out of work, basically, in a swift stroke. Meanwhile, his career is been all right. He's okay. And now we have, if you look at the film, I haven't watched it, and I won't, by the way. I'll stick to the original. Thank you very much. But if you look at the dwarves, they're all CGI and they look horrible. They look scary. And there are so many things to dislike about this movie and the politics of it's not really politics, it's rhetoric coming from Rachel Zegler. It's her rhetoric and her behaviour, her personality is just so toxic and unlikable. And she is pretty, you know. People have brought up the issue of her hairy back. Women have hairs, ladies and gents. She shouldn't be attacked on her appearance or her hairy back, for heaven's sake. Yes, she is horrible, but she is, I think, pretty. That's my opinion. But she's been terribly miscast in this role, and she's completely sunk it with her opinions. She really has. And the lefties have boycotted this movie because of the politics of Gal Gadot. Now, she plays the wicked queen, the evil stepmother. And, you know, ironically, in the cartoon, the wicked stepmother wanted Snow White to be dead because Snow White was prettier than her. That's what the magic mirror said. But in the movie, Gal Gadot is far prettier. She's gorgeous compared to this hairy little communist with the personality of a fucked matchbox. But lefties are boycotting this because Gal Gadot is defending her home country, Israel, after what happened on October the 7th. You know, which is fair enough on her behalf, but she hasn't brought it up during the movie. She hasn't used the movie to platform her own political views, unlike the little communist. So all the ingredients are there, this movie bombing, and it has. And I reckon Rachel Zegler's career's over. Absolutely over now. Who the hell's going to employ her to act in their movies after this? And if they do, they're going to have to keep her away from the cameras and the promotions because she just can't come across as likeable. She's your basic man-hating, nasty piece of work. Disney even scaled back the premiere and her promoting the movie because of how she was. She is toxic, it was too late, and there was nothing they can do about it. I mean, there are plenty of gorgeous women out there, actresses, who could have played Snow White perfectly and right for the role. Why her? When are employers going to learn that meritocracy is far better for business than DEI hires? What's it going to take? And you'd think, wouldn't you, if there was enough of them interested in her politics and agreeing with her, then they'd be filling these cinemas up, but they're not. That's because they stupidly expect us right-wingers, conservatives, to fill these cinemas up, watch their propaganda and swallow what they're trying to, shove down our throats, but we won't take it. And that is why everything woke turns to shit. And that's that. I'm Paz49. Thanks for watching. And until the next time, Roger Trout.